With the recent release of Black Panther Wakanda Forever, comes the introduction of a new character to the MCU, Namor, or Namor. And as soon as I found out that he was going to be the Mayan god Kukulkan, I was both surprised and extremely excited. And after watching it, I can safely say that they did a pretty good job. Before we get into Namor and his Mayan origins, I do want to mention that there won't be heavy spoilers for the movie. However, I will be briefly explaining Namor's origin in both the movie and the comics, so just keep that in mind. So who is Kukulkan, and what exactly are Namor's Mayan origins? Well, for starters, while I've heard of the character Namor from other Marvel media, I wasn't really that familiar with him, and after doing some digging, I found out some pretty interesting stuff. For starters, Namor wasn't actually Mayan in the comics, but instead debuting back in 1937, was the mutant son of a human sea captain and a princess of the kingdom of Atlantis. Yeah, that Atlantis. So he's a pretty old character in the Marvel Universe, and only recently was retconned as Mayan, as the mutant king of the underwater Mayan kingdom of Talokan, whose name derives from the Aztec world of Talokan, the afterlife for those who have drowned. Of course, there are people who are going to be all weird about this change, but personally I think it works extremely well, especially with the themes from the Black Panther franchise. And from what I've read about the character, he's actually still pretty faithful to his original depictions in the comics. In the movie, Namor is born in 1571. It's explained that his powers are derived from Chak, the Mayan god of rain, although because of his flying abilities, he's instead named a Kukulkan, after the feathered serpent god. The feathered serpent is one of the oldest and most important deities in all of pre-Hispanic Mesoamerica. Depictions of him go as far back as the Olmecs, the oldest civilization in the region, and he just kept on spreading as entire civilizations rose and fell over the next 2,000 years, from the Quiche and Yucatec Maya to the Toltecs and Aztecs, and is even still worshipped to this day by indigenous tribes all over. So to say he's important is such an understatement. Because of how widespread he is, he's known by many different names in many different languages, from Cucumatz to Kukulkan and Quetzalcoatl. And all these names literally just translate into the feathered serpent. He is often seen as one of the creator gods who, with the power of his words and thoughts, created the world. Several times actually. And finally formed humans by mixing cornmeal with the blood of the gods. Which is where the whole sacrifice thing comes into play. Since the gods sacrifice their own blood for humans, the humans should in turn sacrifice blood to the gods. Well, at least that's what they believed. Although sometimes the feathered serpent only required a little bit of bloodletting, rather than full-on killing, which is nice to hear. He's a pretty cool dude. The name Kukulkan specifically comes from the Yucatec Maya language, of course found in the Yucatec Peninsula. It's home to famous sites such as Chichen Itza, whose temple was built in honor of Kukulkan, and just so happens to be built over a cenote, or a sinkhole, that was believed to be the watery gateway to the underworld, similar to the entrance to the kingdom of Talokan. In the movie, Talokan's entrance can be found on a beach near a pyramid that looks awfully similar to Chichen Itza, although its location more resembles that of Tulum. It's important to note that Namor himself is named after the feather serpent, rather than actually being the feather serpent himself. It's not all that uncommon for kings to be named after gods. There are a bunch of stories that involve these kings, like that of the Toltec kings Quetzalcoatl and Tezcatlipoca, who are often confused with the gods of the same name. Although the line between being named after a god and actually being said god can get kinda blurred. There are all sorts of ceremonies that involve people like war prisoners being chosen to embody the gods themselves, and after being treated with luxury for a year, are finally taken up to the temples to be sacrificed. Another reason for the people of Talokan to see Namor as a god king is because he was the first of a sea-dwelling tribe to be born in the waters, and using their large abundance of the fictional metal vibranium, created an artificial sun to light their underwater city. Much like how the feathered serpent himself both created and was the actual sun in certain myths. Also, side note, it's explained that Talokan has a lot of vibranium because of a meteor, just like Wakanda. And it just so happens that Talokan is in the exact location of the meteor that killed the dinosaurs millions of years ago. And I may have also used that connection myself in a previous video, which you should totally check out after this. Overall, I really enjoyed the movie, and I can't explain how cool it is seeing a Mayan character playing a big role in an MCU movie. There's so many little details from not just Mayan culture, but Mesoamerican culture as a whole. I know I keep on saying this in a lot of my videos, but like, literally, there's just more and more Mesoamerican stuff coming out in the media, in both movies and TV shows, and I'm just so happy to see that. That's amazing. It's great. I love it. And in the future, I'll come back to dive even deeper into Wakanda Forever's Mayan references in a more spoiler-filled video, no pun intended. And trust me, there's a lot more to cover. So until then, make sure to check out my video on the Mayan creation myth, and subscribe so you don't miss out on when I talk about Namor again. We're getting really close to 1,000 subscribers, so if you could hit that button and share it with your friends and family, that'd be great. It'll support me to keep creating videos like this, and it'll be greatly appreciated. So yeah, just think about it.